Srikanth Tadvarti. You watching Srikanth Ideal Chemistry. In this video, we discussing about polymers in a short revision. So, what are polymers? The combination of same or different molecules we call as polymers. What is combination of small same or different molecules is called polymers. So these small or different molecules we call as monomers, or the smallest repeating unit of polymer is called as a monomer. What is the smallest repeating unit of polymer is called monomer. Okay, next, classifications. In that we have different classification is there. Nearly we have the 7 classifications. We will discuss one by one. So first, classification 1. So the classification 1 is based on the sources of the substance. So classification 1 is based on sources. So based on the sources, the polymers can be classified into can be divided into 3 types. Those are natural polymers, semi-synthetic polymers, and synthetic polymers. So based on the sources, the polymers can be broadly divided into 3 types: natural polymers, semi-synthetic polymers, and synthetic polymers. Natural polymers, the polymers which are isolated from natural materials, we call as natural polymers. What are isolated from natural sources, we call as a natural polymer. If we take some example for natural polymers, cotton, silk, wool, and rubber. So these are the example for natural polymers or source of natural polymers. And second one is synthetic polymers. So synthetic polymers are completely man-made polymers. So the polymers which are prepared by the chemical methods we call as synthetic polymers are man-made polymers. So synthetic polymers are man-made polymers by chemical methods. So if you take the example for synthetic polymers, we can say PVC, polyvinyl chloride, polythene, nylon, etc. is example of synthetic polymers. And next one is semi-synthetic polymers. So semi-synthetic polymers means the polymers which are isolated from the natural sources by chemical method we call as semi-synthetic polymers. So those are isolated from natural polymers by chemical methods we call as semi-synthetic polymers. So the examples for semi-synthetic polymers is cellulose acetate and cellulose nitrate. So cellulose acetate, this is we call as rayon, and cellulose nitrate. So these are the example for semi-synthetic polymer. So this is about the classification one. Next, we go for the classification 2. So the classification 2 is based on the structure. Classification 2. So classification 2 is completely based on the structure. So based on structure. So based on structure, the polymers again classified into 3 types. Those are linear polymers, branched chain polymers, and cross-linked or network polymers. So in that, first, chain polymers or linear polymers. Chain polymers are linear polymers. So the polymers are having linear or straight chains, we call as linear polymers or chain polymers. So having the polymers having straight chains or linear chains, we call as chain polymers. If you take the example for chain polymers, that is you can say HDPE, high density polyethylene, and PVC are the example of chain polymers. And next one is branched chain polymers. What is branched chain polymers? Next one is branched chain polymers. So the polymers having linear chains with some branches, we call as branched chain polymers. Having some branches to linear or straight chains, we call as branched chain polymers. If you take the example of branched chain polymers, LDPE, low density polyethylene, starch are a best example for branched chain polymers. And next type in the classification 2 is cross-linked polymers or network polymers. What is cross-linked or network polymers? So cross-linked polymers or network polymers, the polymers formed by the trifunctional monomers and contain strong covalent bonds between various linear chains is called as a cross-linked or a network polymer. Simply, the polymers formed by from a bifunctional or trifunctional monomers and containing strong covalent bonds between various linear chains, we call as cross-linked or network polymers. Example, bakelite and melamine. Formed by bifunctional or trifunctional monomers having strong covalent bonds between linear chains. So once again, cross-linked or network polymers, the polymers formed by the bifunctional or trifunctional monomers having strong covalent bonds between linear chains, we call as cross-linked or network polymers. Example, bakelite or melamine. So they are the example for cross-linked polymers. This is about the classification 2. And next we go for the classification 3. So next classification 3. Classification 3 based on the reaction, based on type of reaction. Suppose based on the type of reaction, the polymers can be divided into 2 types. One is addition polymers, another one is condensation polymers. What are addition polymers and condensation polymers? What is meant by addition polymers? the polymers formed by the addition of simple molecule, formed by addition of simple molecules without loss of simple molecules. This is about the addition polymers. If you take the example of addition polymers, PVC, neoprene, polythene. Okay, they are the example of addition polymers. Once again, this addition polymers, the polymers formed by the addition of simple molecules without loss of molecules, we call as addition polymers. Next, condensation polymers. What is condensation polymers? The polymers formed by the condensation of simple same or different molecules with loss of simple molecules like water, ammonia, HCl, we call as condensation polymers. So polymers formed by condensation of same or different molecules with loss of simple molecules like H2O, NH3 and HCl. So if you take the example of condensation polymers, you can take terylene, bakelite, etc. So these are the example of condensation polymers. So this is about classification 3. And next, classification 4. So classification 4 is based on nature of polymer. So classification 4 based on nature. Based on nature. So based on nature, the polymers again are divided in two types. One is organic polymers and another one is inorganic polymers. So based on nature, the polymers can be divided into two types. One is organic polymers and another one is inorganic polymers. The polymers contains only carbon atoms. I mean the chain contains only carbon atoms, we call as organic polymers. Example, if you need the example, polythene, PVC and cellulose. These are the example of organic polymers. And second one is inorganic polymers. So inorganic polymers, the polymer chain contains not only carbon atoms and other than carbon atoms, we call as inorganic polymers. So the chain contains other than carbon atoms, we call as inorganic polymers. If you need the example of inorganic polymers, glass, silicones, etc. So this is about the classification 4. So the classification 4 is based on the nature. Based on nature, the polymers can be classified into organic polymers, inorganic polymers. Organic polymers, the polymer chain contain only carbon atoms, we call as organic polymers. And example is polyethylene, PVC and cellulose. Second one is inorganic polymer. The chain contains other than carbon atoms, we call as inorganic polymers. Example, glass, silicones, etc. Sometimes you can take the rubber also. Okay, on volcanization the sulfatons can be present. Okay, next, classification 5. The classification 5 is based on the type of polymerization. So based on polymerization. Okay, so based on the polymerization, the polymers again classified into three types. Those are cationic polymers, anionic polymers, and free radical polymers. So cationic polymers are cationic polymerization polymers. So the polymers formed by the cationic polymerization, so formed by cationic polymerization, we call as cationic polymers. If you take the example of cationic polymers, best example polystyrene and PVC, polyvinyl chloride, etc. Second one is anionic polymers. The polymers formed by anionic polymerization. What is the polymers formed by anionic polymerization? We call as anionic polymers. So if you take the example for anionic polymerization, so polyisoprene, Buna rubber. So best example. What is Buna rubber is best example for anionic polymerization, and you can take the PAN also example, polyacrylonitrile. So PAN, Buna rubber and PAN is best example for anionic polymerization. And next one is free radical polymers. Free radical polymers. The polymers found by the free radical mechanism, we call free radical polymerization, we call as free radical polymers formed by free radical polymerization is called as free radical polymers. So if you need the example for free radical polymers, here you can take polyethylene and polybutadiene. Polyethylene or polybutadiene is example of free radical polymerization. And last classification, that is classification 6. So this classification 6 is based on the intermolecular forces. So classification 6. So it is based on intermolecular forces. Based on intermolecular forces. So based on the intermolecular forces, the polymers classified into 4 types: elastomers, fibers, thermoplastic polymers, thermosetting polymers. So first one is elastomers. The polymers which are having weak intermolecular forces and elastic properties, we call as elastomers. Having weak intermolecular forces and elastic properties, we call as elastomers. If you take the example for elastomers, example Buna S, Buna N, neoprene is example of elastomers. Okay, next one is fibers. Next fibers. The polymers having strong intermolecular forces and thread-like structure and more tensile strength, we call as fibers. Fibers having strong intermolecular forces and thread-like structure and more tensile strength, more tensile strength we call as fibers. If you take the example of fibers, polyester and nylon 6,6, nylon 6,6 and polyester are example of fibers. And next one is thermoplastic polymers. Thermoplastic polymers, the polymers which are soft on heating and rigid or hard on cooling, we call as thermoplastic polymers. Those are soft on heating and hard on cooling. Those are we call as thermoplastic polymers. If we take the example of thermoplastic polymers, PVC, nylon, polyethylene are example of thermoplastic polymers. And next and last in this classification, that is thermosetting polymers. Thermosetting polymers, the polymers which are hard on heating and soft on cooling, we call as thermosetting polymers. Hard on heating, we call as thermosetting polymers. If you take the example of thermosetting polymers, bakelite, silicones, etc. are the example of thermosetting polymers. So this is about the classification. Now next we discussing about some important polymers. Classification 4. So classification 7. Classification 7. The classification 7 is based on the monomers, based on nature of monomers. So based on nature of monomers, the polymers again classified in two types. Those are homopolymers and copolymers. I mean the polymers which are formed by the same type of monomer we call as homopolymers. Formed by same type of monomers we call as homopolymers. If you take the example of homopolymers, PVC, Orlan, polythene, etc. Next one is copolymer or copolymers. The polymers formed by the one or more type of monomers we call as copolymers. Formed by one or more type of monomers we call as copolymers. If we take the example of copolymers, the best example of copolymers is Buna S, Buna N, bakelite, nylon 6 steriline. You can take like that. So this is about the classification. And next one is polymers. So we will discuss about some polymers. What are the monomers of given polymers and their polymeric structure and uses, everything we will discuss. Next we are discussing about some important polymers. So in that first category I take the addition polymers. Here best example is natural rubber. So natural rubber is a polymer of cis isoprene. When cis isoprene undergoes polymerization with 1,3 addition, it can form the natural rubber. So in the natural rubber, the monomer is cis isoprene. Cis isoprene. When cis isoprene undergoes 1,3 addition, we get a natural rubber. If you see the structure of natural rubber, it will present like So this is the structure of a natural rubber. So this structure we will get after 1,3 addition of a cis isoprene. So actually the natural rubber is very soft and it is easily brittle in nature. To improve the properties of natural rubber, we can do the vulcanization. So on vulcanization, on vulcanization at 373 to 415 kelvins, the properties of natural rubber can be improved. On vulcanization at 373 to 415 kelvins, properties of rubber improved. So in the vulcanization we use the sulfur. So if you use the 1 to 3% of sulfur, we get a soft and stretchy rubber. Or if you use the 3 to 10% of sulfur, you get the hard rubber, which is used in the making of tiles. So on vulcanization, if you use 1 to 3% of sulfur, we get a soft rubber having stretchy. Okay, if you use 3 to 10% of sulfur, we get a hard rubber which is used for making of tiles. Okay, so this is about the natural rubber. Here I want to say another thing. The natural rubber can be prepared from cis isoprene with 1,3 addition. If you use here trans isoprene, you get the structure like gutta percha. Okay, this is about the natural rubber. Next, polyethylene. Polymer is polyethylene. So by using of polyethylene, we can prepare the two type of polymers. One is low density polyethylene and another one is high density polyethylene. So first we discussing about low density polyethylene. Low density polyethylene. So low density polyethylene. When ethylene heated with when ethylene heated at 350 to 570 kelvins of temperature and 1000 to 350 to 570 kelvins and 1000 to 200 atmosphere of pressure in presence of peroxide. In presence of peroxide, we get a low density polyethylene. Low density polyethylene. Once again, see this low density polyethylene. The low density polyethylene can be formed by the polymerization of ethylene at 350 to 570 kelvins and 1000 to 200 atmosphere of high pressure. In presence of peroxide or oxygen, we get a low density polyethylene. So these low density polyethylene is tough and flexible, transparent and chemically inert, as well as the low density polyethylene is a poor conductor of electricity and it is more moderate tensile strength and but not good strength. Okay, so these are the properties of polyethylene. Actually the low density polyethylene can be used for the making of toys, flexible pipes, wires and squeezy bottles. So this is the use of low density polyethylene. Next one is in this high density polyethylene. What is high density polyethylene? So high density polyethylene is formed by the polymerization of ethylene in presence of Ziegler-Natta catalyst at 333 to 343 kelvins and 6 to 7 atmosphere of pressure, we get a high density polyethylene. So high density polyethylene prepared by the polymerization of ethylene at 333 to 343 kelvins and 6 to 7 atmosphere of pressure in presence of Ziegler-Natta catalyst forms high density polyethylene. They form high density polyethylene. So okay, this is about the preparation of high density polyethylene. So generally the high density polyethylene is used for the making of buckets, dustbins, horse housewares, insulators. So these are the use of high density polyethylene. And next one is polystyrene. What is polystyrene? So if you see that in the polystyrene, the monomer is styrene. So when styrene undergoes free radical polymerization in presence of benzoyl peroxide, it can form a polystyrene. What is? When polystyrene undergoes free radical mechanism, so formed by free radical polymerization, So when styrene, the formula of styrene, CH double bond CH2 C6H5. So this is a styrene. When this styrene undergoes free radical mechanism in presence of uh, benzoyl peroxide, it can form polystyrene. Uses: generally the polystyrene can be used in a wrapping material, insulators, radio and TV bodies. What is? It is used in a radio and TV cabinets, toys and wrapping materials. So this is about the polystyrene. And next one is polypropylene. What is polypropylene? So polypropylene. So polypropylene is prepared by the vinyl chloride. So or polypropylene is prepared by the polymerization of polypropylene in presence of Ziegler-Natta catalyst. So when propylene undergoes polymerization in presence of Ziegler-Natta catalyst, we get the polypropylene. So if we take the structure, CH double bond CH2 CH3. So this is the structure of propylene. When the propylene undergoes polymerization in presence of Ziegler-Natta catalyst, it can form polypropylene. If you see the example uses of polypropylene, so generally the polypropylene used in the preparation of making of ropes, toys, pipes, fibers. Used in making of ropes, toys, pipes and fibers. So this is about a polypropylene. And next one is polyvinyl chloride. Polyvinyl chloride, we call as PVC in short form. This polyvinyl chloride undergoes free radical polymerization in presence of dibenzyl peroxide. It can form polyvinyl chloride. So when vinyl chloride, if you take the structure of vinyl chloride, that is CH double bond CH2 Cl. So this is vinyl chloride. When vinyl chloride undergoes polymerization in presence of dibenzyl peroxide, it can form PVC, polyvinyl chloride. So if we take the uses of polyvinyl chloride, so the polyvinyl chloride can be used in the making of raincoats and toys and electrical insulators. So these are the use of polyvinyl chloride. And last one is and next one is Teflon. Teflon or polytetrafluoroethane. So Teflon is prepared from the polymerization of tetrafluoroethane in presence of catalyst and at a high pressure we get the Teflon. So if you see the formation, here we use the tetrafluoroethylene. When tetrafluoroethylene undergoes polymerization in presence of catalyst at high pressure, it can form Teflon. If you take the uses of Teflon, so it is used in the making of oil seals, gaskets, and also used for the insulators. So this is about the Teflon. Okay students, next addition polymer is polyacrylonitrile. So it is prepared by the polymerization of acrylonitrile. So when acrylonitrile undergoes polymerization in presence of peroxide, it can form a PON or a polyacrylonitrile. So CH double bond CH2 Cl. So this is acrylonitrile. So when this acrylonitrile undergoes polymerization, free radical polymerization in presence of peroxide, it can form polyacrylonitrile, we call as a PON. If you see the use of polyacrylonitrile, it is used in the substance as a in a wool fiber like Orlan and acrylic. So it is used in a substituent in a wool like Orlan or acrylan. Okay, so this is about polyacrylonitrile. And next one is neoprene. So neoprene is a polymer of chloroprene. When chloroprene undergoes polymerization, it can form the neoprene. So if you take the chloroprene, the structure of chloroprene is a CH double bond C, Cl, CH double bond CH2. When N molecules of chloroprene undergoes polymerization in presence of catalyst it can form neoprene. So if we take the uses of neoprene, so it is used in the making of conveyor belts, gaskets. So it is used in the making of gaskets, hoses, and printing rollers. Printing rollers. So this is about the neoprene. The additional polymer is Buna S or styrene butadiene rubber. So what is next polymer? Buna S. So before going to the next polymer, so what we are discussed up to now: chloroprene, polystyrene, polypropylene, natural rubber, acrylonitrile, Teflon, polyethylene. All are the example of addition polymers. At the same time, all are the homopolymers. Now we discussing about addition polymer and with the example of a copolymer. So Buna S is a polymer of 1,3 butadiene and styrene. So to the preparation of Buna S, here we use the monomer of 1,3 butadiene and styrene. So 1,3 butadiene. So n molecules of CH2 double bond CH double bond CH2 we call as 1,3 butadiene. So when this 1,3 butadiene react with styrene, CH double bond CH2 C6H5 styrene. So when 1,3 butadiene undergoes polymerization with styrene, it can form Buna S. So this is indication of Buna S. If you take the uses of Buna S, so Buna S is used for the making of automobile tires and footwear. Used in automobile tires and footwear. Okay, so this is about Buna S. One more thing you don't remind, Buna S is an example of a copolymer, addition copolymer. Next is Buna N. So Buna N is used is a polymer of 1,3 butadiene and acrylonitrile. So it is also example of addition polymer and copolymer. So it is a combination of 1,3 butadiene and acrylonitrile. When 1,3 butadiene and acrylonitrile undergoes addition polymerization, they can form so this is Buna N. So the polymer Buna N can be used for the making of oil seals, manufacturing of hoses, and tank linings. So used for the oil seals, tank lining, and hoses. So these are the uses of Buna N. So these are about the addition polymers. Next we go for the condensation polymers. So next type of polymers for we take the condensation polymers. So here condensation polymers, you know very well condensation polymers, the polymers which are formed by the joining of small molecules, by the lashing of small molecules like water ammonia and HCl, we call as condensation polymers. So here I just take the best example for condensation polymer. So that is the basic example, that is a nylon 6. So nylon 6 is a condensation polymer. At the same time, it is a homopolymer. So the condensation polymer nylon 6 can be prepared from the caprolactam. If you need the structure of caprolactam, NH 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the caprolactam. So when caprolactam undergoes a strong heating in presence of water, here the bond broken at here, and by the losing of water molecule we get the nylon 6, and the structure of nylon 6 is so this is a polymer structure of nylon 6. So the nylon 6 can be prepared from the caprolactam. So nylon 6 is an example of a homopolymer. When caprolactam undergoes strong heating, here water molecule can be lost, then we get the nylon 6. If you see the uses of nylon 6, so this is about the nylon 6. So next example in condensation polymer, that is nylon 66. So nylon 66 is an example of condensation polymer. At the same time, it is an example of copolymer. In the condensation polymers, we have only one example for homopolymer, that is nylon 6. So remaining all are copolymers. So here I just take the nylon 66. So in the nylon 66, it is a copolymer. It is formed by the monomers of adipic acid and hexamethylene diamine. What is? It is formed by the combination of adipic acid and hexamethylene diamine. So if you take the adipic acid, its text is NCOOH, CH2 taken for COOH. This is adipic acid. So when these adipic acid combined with hexamethylene diamine, its text is H2N, CH2 taken 6, NH2, we call as hexamethylene diamine. So when these are both are undergoes condensation polymerization, here we just lost the water molecule, then we get the nylon 66. Its texture is like COCH2 taken for CO, NH, CH2 taken 6, NH. So this is a nylon 6, 6. So nylon 66 is a condensation polymer. It is formed by the condensation polymerization of adipic acid and hexamethylene diamine. Here we just lost the water molecule and we get the nylon 66. So nylon 66 is used in the used for the used in the textile industry. So it is used in a textile industry. Used in a textile industry. Okay, and next condensation polymer is glyptol. So glyptol is a condensation copolymer of monomers of ethylene glycol and patholic acid. So ethylene glycol. So if you take the structure of ethylene glycol, OH, CH2, CH2, OH. This is we call as ethylene glycol. So when N molecules of ethylene glycol condense with patholic acid, so this is a patholic acid. So when N molecules of ethylene glycol condense with N molecules of patholic acid, then here we just lost the N molecules of water molecule resulting we get glyptol. So if you see the structure of glyptol, so this is the structure of glyptol. So generally glyptol can be used in it is in manufacturing of paints and lacquers. Its uses, if you see the uses, used in paints and lacquers. Okay, so this is about the glyptol. And next polymer is terylene or Dacron. Terylene or Dacron. So the terylene or Dacron is a condensation copolymer of ethylene glycol and terephthalic acid. What is ethylene glycol and terephthalic acid? So this is ethylene glycol and it is combined with the terephthalic acid. Terephthalic acid. So when ethylene glycol condenses with the terephthalic acid, then we just lost the N molecules of water molecule, resulting we get the structure like so. This is a Dacron. Okay, so Dacron generally used in the making of conveyor belts, recording tapes, and prepared in the aprons for industrial workers. So these are the use of terylene. Okay, so just see the use of terylene. The terylene can be used for the conveyor belts, recording tapes, apron of industrial workers. So these are the example of use of terylene. Next one is phenol formaldehyde resin or bakelite. What is the next polymer? Bakelite. So bakelite is a copolymer of phenol formaldehyde monomers. So it is combination of phenol and formaldehyde. If you take the structure of phenol, so this is about phenol. When this phenol undergoes condensation with formaldehyde, okay, in that time we just lost the water molecule. Then we get the structure of polymer bakelite. So this is a polymer of polymeric structure of bakelite. So bakelite can be prepared from the condensation polymerization of phenol and formaldehyde. We get by the loss of N molecules of water molecule, we just get the bakelite. So if you see the uses of bakelite, it is used in the comms, switches and computer disks. So bakelite used in making of comms, switches and computer disk. So this is the about the backline. Condensation polymers. Last one is melamine formaldehyde polymer. So it is prepared by the monomers of melamine and formaldehyde. So when melamine and formaldehyde combine to each other, if you take the structure of melamine, so this is the structure of melamine. So when n molecules of melamine undergoes condensation with the formaldehyde, so it can form melamine formaldehyde polymer. So if you take the structure N double bond C, N double bond C, N, NH, so this is the indication of melamine formaldehyde polymer. So it is it can form the cross-linked polymers like that. So melamine formaldehyde polymer can be formed by the combination of melamine and formaldehyde. So we get a melamine formaldehyde polymer. It is used for making of unbreakable cups and laminated sheets. Used for unbreakable cups and laminated sheets. This is the use of melamine formaldehyde polymers. And next category is biodegradable polymer and biodegradable polymer. So biodegradable polymers. So what are biodegradable polymers? The polymers which are degradable by microorganism within a suitable period we call as a biodegradable polymers. What is about biodegradable polymer? The polymers which are decomposed by microorganism we call as a biodegradable polymers. Okay. At the same time, the biodegradable polymers cannot affecting on the environment. So the polymers which are degradable by microorganism and without any effect on microorganism we call as a biodegradable polymer. So once again this biodegradable polymer, the biodegradable polymer which are decomposed by microorganism within a short period without any affecting on without any affecting on environment we call as a biodegradable polymer. So for biodegradable polymer we have some example. That is first and best example is PHBV. We call as a poly beta hydroxybutyrate co-beta hydroxyvalerate. It is a condensation polymer and it is a condensation polymer. It is prepared from the monomers like 3-hydroxybutanoic acid and 3-hydroxypentanoic acid. So first example is PHBV. So what is meant by PHBV? Poly beta hydroxy butyrate co-beta hydroxy valerate. So this is the full form of PHBV. So PHBV is a combination of 3-butanoic acid CH3 CH CH2 COOH. So this is a 3 hydroxy butanoic acid, and it is combined with 3 hydroxy pentanoic acid, CH3 CH2 CH CH2 COOH OH, 3 hydroxy pentanoic acid. So when 3 hydroxy butanoic acid and 3 hydroxy pentanoic acid undergoes polymerization, they can form a PHPV. So if you see the structure of PHPV, so this is the polymeric form of PHBV. So PHBV very important of biodegradable polymer. So it is poly beta hydroxybutyrate, co beta hydroxyvalerate. So it is prepared by the combination of 3 hydroxy butanoic acid and 3 hydroxy pentanoic acid. So this is about the poly beta hydroxy, and it is used for the specially packing orthopedic devices and in controlled releasing of drugs. So it is uses in orthopedic devices, packing, and used in controlling of release of drugs. So this is about the use of PHBV. And next one is nylon to nylon 6. What is a nylon to nylon 6? This is the second biodegradable polymer. Nylon to nylon 6. So nylon to nylon 6 is a polymer of glycine and aminocaproic acid. So it is a combination of glycine and aminocaproic acid. So when glycine and aminocaproic acid undergoes condensation polymerization, they can form nylon to nylon 6. So if you take the glycine H2N CH2 COOH, so this is we call as glycine. So when glycine undergoes polymerization with aminocaproic acid, so this is aminocaproic acid. So when glycine undergoes condensation with the aminocaproic acid, by the loss of water molecule, we just got the nylon to nylon 6. So this is a nylon to nylon 6. So if you see that it is a these are the biodegradable polymer of so this is a next one is dextran. Dextran also biodegradable polymer. What is dextran? So dextran is a polymer. So it is also called as polyglucolic acid, polylactic acid. So in the dextran we use the monomers are glycolic acid and lactic acid. So when you take the N molecules of glycolic acid and N molecules of lactic acid, so those are undergoes condensation polymerization, we get dextran. So these are about the biodegradable polymers. And next and last concept is average molecular weight of polymers. What is average molecular weight of polymers? Here we have two methods to find the average molecular weight of polymers. One is a number average molecular weight. What is number average molecular weight? It is defined by Mn bar. So number average molecular weight is a ratio of weight of the polymer to total number of monomers or molecules. So number average molecular weight Mn bar is equal to ratio of weight of the polymer to total number of molecules. Total number of molecules. So this is about number average molecular weight. If you take the formula of number average molecular weight, it is Mn bar is equal to N1 M1 plus N2 M2 plus N3 M3 plus and so on by N1 plus N2 plus N3 plus and so on. So this is about number average molecular weight. And second one is weight average molecular weight. What is weight average molecular weight? It can be written by MW bar. So weight average molecular weight is a ratio of product of weights of molecules to total weight of the molecules. What is product of weight of molecules to product of weight of molecules to total weight of molecules. Total weight of molecules. If you take the formula for weight average molecular weight, MW bar is equal to N1 M1 square plus N2 M2 square plus N3 M3 square plus and so on by N1 M1 plus N2 M2 plus N3 M3 plus and so on. So these are about the weight average number average molecular weight and weight average molecular weight. So based on these two formulas, we have another one, that is PDI, we call as polydispersity index. What is a PDI? Next one is a PDI. So it is we call as a polydispersity index. So PDI is a ratio of PDI is a ratio of weight average molecular weight to number average molecular weight. So what is PDI? Is a ratio between weight average molecular weight to number average molecular weight. So here for natural polymers, we get a number average molecular weight is equal to weight average molecular weight. At the same time, for synthetic polymers, number molecular weight is less than number average molecular weight is less than weight average molecular weight. So this is about the short revision of polymers. Okay students, if you like my concept, please subscribe to my channel. Please like and share my videos. Thank you.